1944. The FBI fingerprint files, an archive of identification. London, 1929. A knocker-up at work. Before alarm clocks, people were paid to wake clients for work by knocking on their doors and windows with a stick. 1883. Niagara Falls froze over. Nature suspended in ice. World War I field. More than 100 years later, the scars still visible. 1800s. The Sioux Nation teepees spread across the Great Plains. Image believed to have been taken in the Dakota Territory. Berlin, 1961. A German soldier helping a little boy sneak across. Compassion in a divided city. 1961. Residents of West Berlin showing their children to their grandparents living in East Berlin. Families separated by concrete and barbed wire. Leningrad, 1989. Sailors saluting a war veteran. Respect across generations. Hiroshima, August 1945. A Japanese mother and her child sit amongst the ruins after American airmen dropped the atomic bomb Little Boy on the city. Paris, July 1888. The Eiffel Tower under construction before it became the symbol of a city. 1920. Isaac Newton Cyber of Wolford, North Dakota, riding in a wagon pulled by an ostrich. Photo taken at the Cowston Ostrich Farm in South Pasadena, California. Aswan, Egypt, 1968. Workers reassembling the 3,200-year-old Abu Simbel temples. The sandstone temples had been hand-sawn into over 1,000 pieces, shifted 200 yards inland to avoid flooding from the new Aswan High Dam. Sweden, September 3, 1967. The day Sweden switched from driving on the left-hand side of the road to the right-hand side. Chaos in transition. 1933. Depression-era breadline. Hunger waiting in formation. The inside of a German World War I-era U-boat. Cramped quarters beneath the sea. Chicago, 1963. 21-year-old Bernie Sanders protesting segregation, getting arrested for his activism. 1967. Che Guevara shortly before his execution with CIA officer Felix Rodriguez. 1934. Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin kissing his daughter Svetlana. Despite his cold tendencies toward many family members, Stalin reportedly adored Svetlana and lavished her with affection. 1962. U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt gazing at a large globe, gifted to him by the staff of the Office of Strategic Service, the precursor to the CIA. 1962. A briefing slide presented to President Kennedy during the Cuban Missile Crisis, the world on the brink. Hanoi, October 26, 1967. The moment Vietnamese civilians pulled pilot John McCain from Truk Bac Lake after his A-4E Skyhawk was shot down by a surface-to-air missile during a bombing mission. New York City, 1932. A long line of hungry people during the Great Depression, waiting for food at the intersection of 6th Avenue and 42nd Street. Chicago, 1924. A car wash using a patented method by inventor Boland. The structure was a ribbed concrete bowl 24 meters in diameter. Customers drove through at just under 20 kilometers per hour. The vibration caused water to spray over the car. Ukraine, 1933. Mykola Bokan stands over his son's grave. Kostya, 22 years old, died from malnourishment working on a collective farm. Dachau concentration camp, April 1945. Piles of tattered clothing belonging to prisoners, photographed during liberation. Mid-1980s, the Statue of Liberty under renovation, an icon stripped down for restoration. Houston, Texas, August 23, 1917. Court-martial of 64 members of the 24th Infantry United States of America, on trial for mutiny and murder of 17 people. 1967. A Nepalese man with a tucked kukri in his turban, traditional weapon carried with pride. Kamchatka Peninsula, Soviet Union, circa 1978. Soviet volcanologists monitoring the eruption of the Tolbachik volcano. Photographed by Vadim Gippenreiter. Circa 1965. Rosa Parks sits at the front of a bus, following the end of racial segregation by the transit company. August 23, 1989. About 2 million people from Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania formed a human chain, united all 3 countries to show the world their desire to escape the Soviet Union. This power stretched 600 kilometers. Antietam, September 17, 1862. Bodies of soldiers lay alongside a horse and caisson near Dunker Church, the cost of a single day. Bloody Lane, 1862. Confederate dead after wave of Union attacks. The ground told the story. Abensee, Austria. Starving prisoners at a Mauthausen subcamp. The 80th Division of the U.S. Army found them alive, barely. 1915. Armenian refugees on the deck of a French cruiser, rescued from Ottoman persecution. The sea became sanctuary. Przemysłowa Street, occupied Lodz, a Nazi detention center built for Polish children, known as Kinder KZ. Childhood stolen by design. Buchenwald, April 1945. Skeletal prisoners in wooden bunks. U.S. Third Army arrived just in time. Or maybe just too late. Stalingrad, winter 1942-43. Frozen bodies of German soldiers. The cold finished what combat started. Walter H. Horn's triple execution photograph. 3 men hanged for stealing military supplies, all in one shot. France, January 31, 1939. Republican fighters rest beside the road, raising clenched fists against Franco, even as they retreated. Tuil Slang Prison, Cambodia, 1976 to 1979. A mother holding her baby inside S-21. Both detained by the Khmer Rouge. Neither would leave. Hiroshima. Burns covering a woman's back. The pattern matches the kimono she wore when the bomb fell. Her clothing burned into her skin. An abandoned Holocaust camp, used to persecute Jewish people and those who opposed the Reich. Empty now, but the weight remains. Poland, circa 1947. Post-war photograph of a gas chamber in the Auschwitz main camp, built for mass murder. Hamburg, Germany, 1942 to 1945. Oblique aerial view of ruined buildings south of Eilbeck Park, the Eilbeck district destroyed by Royal Aircraft Command. Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. The gate at the main entrance to the war prison barracks. Double barbed wire fence keeping prisoners inside. U.S. General Hospital, Division I, Annapolis. An unidentified, emaciated prisoner of war from Belle Isle, Richmond. Survival barely visible. Austria. A starved Serbian prisoner of war, photographed by an Italian officer. The body reduced to bone. Dachau. Starved bodies of prisoners transported from another concentration camp, lying grotesquely where they fell. Sidi Rezik, Western Desert, 1941. Battlefield remains. What war left in the sand. Ivalo, Finland. A burned village during the War of Lapland. Nothing left standing. 1919. A typical British cemetery. Silent cities for the fallen. Bergen-Belsen Camp, April 1945. A pile of shoes left behind, belonging to tens of thousands of prisoners. Many perished from starvation, disease, and abuse. This photo was taken immediately after British liberation. Dachau concentration camp, newly liberated. Survivors search through a huge pile of prisoner clothing, looking for what was taken. Courcelette, France, 1916. A destroyed church, dominated by mounds of rubble. 2 damaged walls remain. Rookhurst School, Manitoba, before it burned down in 1941. The building also served as a meeting place for community events, Christmas concerts, church services, and meetings of the Manitoba Grain Growers Association. Kubet El Hawa, discovery of a skeleton with remains of a wooden coffin during Schiaparelli excavations, the past unearthed. North Hill, Eastern Slopes, scattered burials. A burial in a double vase. The lower half contained skeletal remains, while the upper half functioned as a lid. The 2 vessels sealed together with mud mortar. Schiaparelli excavations. El Shat, Egypt. UNRRA's largest Middle East camp housed 20,000 people in the desert, close to the Suez Canal. Children bathed under supervision and watched Allied ships carrying wheat from Australia and New Zealand bound for Europe. Im Phut labor camp. Portrait of Sami Dora working at dam construction. Labor under duress. Yosemite Valley, 1943 to 1945. The Ahwahnee Hotel's Grand Lounge transformed into the U.S. Navy's Ward A, housing injured World War II sailors and Marines. A far cry from the brutal treatment given American prisoners of war by communist North Korean forces. Different standards of captivity. A Russian slave laborer among prisoners liberated by 3rd Armored Division points out a former Nazi guard, the roles reversed. Western Front. A soldier sitting cleaning mud from his rifle. His beard shows he's been in the trenches for days. London, 1945. A boy holding a stuffed animal amid the ruins. After German aerial bombing, his mother, father, and brother buried beneath the rubble. Early cotton factories in England. Very young orphaned children worked under brutal conditions. The first Factory Act in 1802 tried to protect them, limiting hours and banning night work. Military Hospital No. 5, Auteuil. A wounded American soldier receiving care, an American Red Cross nurse's aide and a Boy Scout tending to him. North African Desert, June 2, 1942. German prisoners walking behind barbed wire, captured in the sand. Grand Val, near Paris. French refugee children living at an American Red Cross home during the First World War. Shelter from the conflict. World War I. A soldier writing what might be his final letter. Words for loved ones he might never see again. Saint-Pois, Normandy, France, August 10, 1944. A girl and her grandmother waiting in a schoolyard. Refugees fleeing the final battle for Normandy. Nagasaki, 1945. After the bombing, the city erased.